Howdy doody, buckaroonies. There are some things in life that are just really important. It might be something like your family, your friends, your significant other, your awesome collection of exotic mustards, or even your waifu. But there's one thing for me that stands above all else, and that is a program called Cecilia 5. A couple of weeks ago, I saw a comment on the channel on a video I did about Cecilia 5 a couple of years ago, and I thought to myself, I wonder if it's working again. Because for whatever reason, Cecilia 5 just quit working on my computer. I don't know if it was a Windows update thing or what, it just would not run. So I downloaded it again and installed it, and it actually works, and I was so incredibly hyped for this because it's such an amazing sound design tool. To celebrate this monumental occasion, I wanted to show you guys a cool way to create some wild IDM glitchy style drums using Cecilia 5 and another free program called Blip. I was playing around with all this the other night and accidentally created an entire sample pack using this technique. So if you want to pick up the sample pack to help support the channel so I can make more videos like this one, or you want to pick up the free edition to get some weird glitchy stutters, pops, crackles, blips, and other miscellaneous things, including a couple of loops, you can find all that linked down in the description below. First up, let's talk about this Blip thing. So Blip is a standalone application that's actually been around for a while. It is Windows only though, and unfortunately I couldn't find anything else that is Windows and Mac that does anything like what this does. So feel free to skip to the next section of the video if you're not on Windows, because you won't be able to do this. The big takeaway here is that we are going to load a bunch of random drum one-shots into this and generate a random sequence to create a pile of just drum audio vomit. It doesn't need to sound good, it just needs to be a bunch of percussion hits, and that's all you need to know. For those of you on Windows, you can find Blip linked down in the description. This is a matrix-style sequencer, so each of these cells represents a different hit, and it goes from left to right, and that's just how it works. It's a little bit weird, but I'm going to show you how I did this whole technique. First up, we're going to go down here to the bottom and click this drum icon to edit a kit. Here what we can do is use this button to randomly create a drum kit, which is really cool. So we'll click that. I'm just going to go to my samples drive here, and I'll select the Music Radar 808 Samples Kit and go to the One Shots folder, hit OK. It's going to take a second, and then it's going to generate an entirely new drum kit. How I made my sample pack is actually the same way. I loaded my free 808 sessions pack and just did this whole process. Now what we can do is start generating a sequence. We can use the pen tool to just color in a couple of cells. We could use something like the spray tool to spray paint. We can use this button to generate a drum groove, which just kind of brings out a rhythm. And then we could maybe just add the spray tool to this, and away we go. Another fun tool to know about is the mutate button, which mutates the colors. The colors control things like the volume, panning, and I believe pitch by default, but you can define those in the settings, which you can access down here in the lower right. So we can change that stuff there. And now we can give this a play. Great. So that sounds like total garbage. Doesn't really matter though. I'm gonna just create a new project here. In this case, I'm just gonna use the spray tool to spray in something a bit more random and not so rhythmically consistent, because I just want to get as many different weird sounds as possible. We'll do that. Let's mutate some of these colors here, and then maybe adjust the tempo slightly. So maybe we'll just kind of slow this down a bit. We can get a bit more length out of each hit. So we'll do 95, give this a play. And we've got something that's a bit all over the place, but it has enough variety to it that it should work really well for the next step here. Now all we need to do is render out the audio file. We can do that down here in the center. You can actually render out the WAV file, or you can render out the MIDI if you want to render out just some random MIDI to throw in your DAW and do something weird with, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to export as a WAV file. So I'm going to just put this on my desktop as random drum vomit. And we're done. Now we've got Cecilia open, and we're going to drag in our drum vomit, and that's going to be our audio source. And we want to make sure we're on one of the granular modules. So we'll go to File, Modules, we'll go to Time, and we'll go to Ultimate Grainer. This is kind of the one I find the most useful for this because it's got a lot of fine control over all the weird stuff we can do. In order to make this interesting and not just play back like a regular granular synth thing, what we're going to do is start randomizing as many parameters as we feel necessary. We'll click on maybe density per second here. We'll go up to the top right to this kind of random thing. This is the generator for random data. We can select the number of points, set the minimum and maximum values. We'll just hit apply. And we'll do this again for the other parameters, which I've already done here. So I've done transpose, the grain position, grain duration, left start time deviation alone. We could maybe randomize the filter frequency a little bit and randomize the filter resonance, because why not? I've got the panning random, that's going to be all over the place as well. Position random is up, density random is up, you get the idea. So feel free to just mess with this. It's really not important to do anything in particular, you just want to randomize stuff. Then we're going to go to the output duration and set that to whatever you want. We could just do 30 seconds, and this is going to generate 30 seconds of absolute chaos, which you will hear right now. And if that is not true beauty, I don't know what is. That is the power of Cecilia. So you could tweak this and mess with it more. You could increase the gain if it's maybe just really quiet. There's also some basic post-processing. Maybe we could go in here and just add kind of a basic compressor, and we'll use another compressor as a limiter. So we'll just crank the ratio and set the threshold to like minus 10-ish or so. Then we'll just compress this other one a little bit, make everything a bit louder, go back and see what we've got. Cool, I think that's sounding pretty good. Now what we'll do is go to action, bounce to disk. We'll need to set that first. So we'll go to the output, we'll go to our file name. I'm gonna do this again on my desktop. So we'll change this to drum vomit grained dot wave, hit save, action, bounce to disk, and we'll just wait for this to be done. It shouldn't take too long, but if you render out a really, really long file or have a really kind of slow, low-spec computer, it might take a minute, but now it's done. Once you have prepared your pile of audio vomit, you can just drag that into your DAW. We'll expand this, and we see we've got this big, beautiful file of just absolute destruction of audio. We'll go to raw mode in DAWg, so we're making sure this isn't just doing something weird with the time. Now what we could do is maybe just right-click, slice this in place, and we'll just do this at onsets. It's just going to slice this up based on transients, and now we've got a bunch of little clicks and blips and pops and who knows what. This is actually how I created the entire sample pack. I just added a little bit of extra processing to finish it off, and I was done. Here we have my sample pack, so we can just kind of click through this really quickly. Just a bunch of little weird clicks and pops, which are great to layer in and just add some glitchy somethingness to your sounds. The other cool idea is to run these little clicks and pops back through something like Blip to create random loops, which is what I did here. I've got a couple that are like D&B sort of loops. Got some others that are maybe slower and groovier. So as you can imagine, this is a really efficient and fun way to make glitchy, weird IDM or stutter effects. You could then run these into something like Isotope Stutter Edit or something and just completely destroy your audio and get a lot of really cool sounds very, very quickly. And that wraps everything up for this one. If you want to pick up my new sample pack, 808 Destruction, to help support the channel so I can make more videos like this one, you can find that with the link down in the description. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you learned something, and I hope this inspires you to get out there and make something awesome. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.